In the heart of a bustling metropolis, where skyscrapers kissed the clouds and life never took a pause, lived Daniel. Middle-aged with silver streaks adorning his hair, he epitomized success. His crisp suits and sharp demeanor had sealed many a deal, and to the outside observer, Daniel was the very definition of accomplishment. However, beneath this polished exterior lurked a void, an emptiness that neither his corner office nor his luxurious penthouse could fill. Every silent moment, every solitary night, the hollowness echoed, amplifying his feelings of dissatisfaction. Flashbacks often flitted through Daniel's mind. He saw himself as a young, enthusiastic high school graduate, dreams in his eyes, only to be steered by his parents into a prestigious college they deemed fit. Then came his first job, again a parental choice, offering security over passion. The most vivid of these memories, though, was that of his wedding day. Dressed in a tuxedo, he stood beside a woman chosen for him, their union a product of compatibility on paper, not passion in the heart. These memories, though filled with love from his parents, were also tinged with regret. Each decision, while made with his best interests at heart, was not truly his own. It left him pondering the age-old question: at what point does one truly start living for oneself? The intensity of the big city mirrored Daniel's escalating internal turmoil. Every meeting, every presentation seemed to amplify the dissonance within. The more he attempted to drown it out with the bustle of daily responsibilities, the more pronounced it became. One evening, after a particularly draining ward meeting, the weight of his dissatisfaction reached a breaking point. The very next day, in a move that shocked his colleagues and friends, Daniel sought a prolonged leave of absence from his high-ranking position. No longer could the glossy confines of his office contain the storm brewing within him. He yearned for answers. His first few days were aimless, wandering from town to town, lost in his introspection. In a quaint cafe nestled on the outskirts of a small village, he overheard a conversation that would chart the course of his journey. Hushed voices exchanged tales of an old Buddhist monk, a sage living in the heart of the mountains. Legend had it that this monk held the keys to the enigmas of life, with wisdom distilled from decades of solitude and reflection. A spark ignited in Daniel's heart. It wasn't just serendipity, it felt like destiny. Without a second thought, he decided to ascend into the mountains, driven by a newfound purpose. The thought of confronting the monk and unearthing answers to his soul's deepest queries filled him with a mix of hope and trepidation. It was a gamble, venturing into the unknown, but Daniel felt that meeting this monk might be his only chance at understanding the abyss that had opened up inside him. The mountains, with their majestic peaks piercing the azure skies, beckoned Daniel. But with each step, the rugged terrain reminded him that this journey was not merely physical but also a deep dive into his own psyche. The thinning air and treacherous paths seemed easier to combat than the whirlwind of doubts and memories that assailed him with every altitude gain. Flashbacks of his life choices played in his mind like an old film reel. He saw himself nodding in agreement to his parents' wishes, abandoning dreams, and embracing their envisioned reality. With every recollection, the weight on his shoulders seemed heavier, not from his backpack, but from years of accumulated regret and self-doubt. One evening, as Daniel sought shelter under an ancient cedar tree, an elderly villager approached. With a weather-beaten face, the man had eyes that shimmered with wisdom. They exchanged greetings, and upon learning of Daniel's quest, the villager gave him a measured look. "The monk you seek," he began in a raspy voice, "is not like the tales say. He speaks rarely and only to those with genuine quests, not to those seeking escape." Daniel, taken aback, replied, "I am looking for answers for a purpose." The old villager nodded slowly, his gaze piercing Daniel's very soul. "Then ensure your quest is genuine, for the mountains and the monks see through pretense." Daniel arrived at the top of the mountain. The temple stood in serene contrast to the ruggedness Daniel had journeyed through. The aura was tranquil, with the delicate chime of bells intertwining with birdsong. Inside, the monk sat, an image of stillness. Age had etched lines on his face, but his eyes sparkled with the vibrancy of youth. Sensing Daniel's presence, he gestured for him to sit. They began with a ritual, a ceremonial tea preparation that seemed more like a dance of patience and mindfulness. The silence was profound, but not empty. It was filled with unspoken conversations, exchanges of curiosity and understanding. Finally, with a deep breath, Daniel broke the silence. His voice wavered. I've journeyed far, driven by an emptiness that's consumed my life. I've lived by choices, not mine but those made for me, and it's left me lost. The monk listened, his gaze neither judgmental nor pitying, just profoundly attentive. After what felt like eons, he spoke. Life, young man, is an intricate weave of choices. Some we make, some made for us. But amidst these crossroads, there exist fundamental truths, paths of our own making. Daniel leaned in, the weight of this quest evident in his eyes. Sensing his genuine desire, the monk continued, I will share with you the 5 things one should never sacrifice for anyone. Understand them, internalize them, and perhaps you'll find the direction you so deeply seek. The air grew still as the monk began to share the 5 teachings, each word echoing with the weight of centuries of wisdom. Inner peace. The first, he began, his voice soft yet firm, is inner peace. Imagine a serene pond. Throw a stone, and it ripples. Such is the nature of life. Circumstances will disturb your peace. But should a relationship or situation consistently churn your waters, casting tumultuous waves, it's time to reflect. Your inner peace is sacred, for in that tranquility you find clarity and purpose. Guard it. If something or someone continually disrupts it, they might not be worthy of a place in your life. Self-respect. The monk continued, the path of life is paved with compromises, but tread carefully. Compromise must never become sacrifice when it comes to your self-worth. No ambition, relationship, or situation warrants your constant diminishment. Remember, a tree bowed by the wind can still stand tall once the storm has passed. Dreams and passions. His gaze fixed on a distant horizon, the monk reminisced. In my youth, I met many souls who wandered aimlessly, having forsaken their dreams for others. To abandon one's genuine passions and dreams for the sake of someone else's vision is to leave a part of oneself behind. These dreams, these passions, they're the fires that ignite your spirit. To let them be extinguished is to surrender a piece of your very soul. Integrity. Fourthly, he said, his eyes now piercing into Daniel, is integrity. It is the compass of your character. In trying to please others or to fit into molds, one might be tempted to act out of alignment with their true self. But remember, authenticity is a rare gem in this world. Never sacrifice your morals, your ethics, to appease another. For in the end, you must live with your choices, not them. Time. Finally, with a sigh, the monk concluded, Time, dear Daniel, is the river in which we're but fleeting reflections. It flows relentlessly, never to return. Spend it wisely, not just in pursuits of ambition, but with those who genuinely matter, doing things that nourish not just the body, but the soul. For when the sands run out, it's the memories and moments that will define your journey. As the teachings permeated the air, Daniel felt a profound shift within, as if pieces of a puzzle were finally finding their place. The days that followed were ones of profound introspection. Under the monk's guidance, Daniel immersed himself in meditation, often spending hours lost in the vastness of his thoughts. With each passing day, the teachings seeped deeper, like rain nurturing the roots of an ancient tree. One evening, as the sun painted the sky with hues of gold and crimson, the monk sat beside Daniel. Understanding, young man, is like the unfolding of a lotus, he began. Your journey here wasn't to disregard the wishes of those you love. It's about finding that delicate balance where you can honor the desires of your loved ones without overshadowing your true self. Daniel's eyes, once clouded with confusion, now sparkled with understanding. The monk's teachings weren't an anthem of rebellion, but a melody of balance. It was about recognizing one's needs while respecting those of others, a dance of harmony between self-love and love for others. Daniel traveled back to the city, once a symbol of Daniel's confinement, now greeted him like an old friend. But this time, he returned not as a puppet of expectations, but as a man reborn, with clarity in his heart and purpose in his stride. The transformation was evident. Daniel rekindled passions once forgotten, picking up his old guitar, its strings humming tunes of nostalgia and joy. Boundaries were set, not as walls, but as safeguards to his newfound peace. The The most significant change was in his relationship with his parents. While he held immense respect and love for them, he now approached decisions with a newfound assertiveness. No longer were choices made out of sheer obligation. Instead, they were the result of harmonious discussions where Daniel's voice echoed with the same weight as theirs.